Hello, hello. All right, welcome to another edition of Lead Like Live. That's kind of cool. Today, what I want to talk to you about, every year, for those of you that may not have been here at Chef's Table before, every year I get up here and I do this whole shindig where we talk about something and we really just try and impart some wisdom and leadership principles on you so you can change the course of your restaurant. So, welcome to Lead Like. Today, what I want to talk to you about is the recipe for success. Now, there's many ways to get to success. There's many recipes that we can have, but who in here likes recipes? Liars! Liars, I've been in your restaurants and you do not like recipes. I've seen it. I'm just kidding. I'm just playing around. But no, there's many different ways, obviously, to get to the road of success. When we talk about the recipe for success, today we're going to talk about one specific way that we can do this, of what can we actually tangibly make happen that will give us a better opportunity tomorrow than we had today. Before we get too far into this, there is going to be a point today in this whole conversation where I am going to read everybody's mind at the exact same time. With that being said, al dente leadership has been what we've been talking about. Yesterday we talked about that this means quality and precision, right? It also means resiliency and adaptability, right? But what does this mean for our teams? What does this mean for who we're bringing this back to? This means that we have strong teams that can navigate challenges effectively. That's what it's all about. Strong teams that can navigate challenges effectively. So yesterday we set the table for the entire conference, right? We mise en place. We talked about desire and ability. We talked about this whole principle that we have to have a strong desire. We have to be driven. We have to be motivated. If we're complacent or apathetic, we're either an ember or an ash, right? But we also have to have the ability. But ability itself isn't just enough. Desire itself isn't just enough. This is a great starting point. This is a great launch point for a quick way to be able to analyze and identify where we are. But desire and ability, that's just the starter.
Lazy people don't know how to start. Weak people don't know how to finish. Successful people don't know how to stop. People demand success, but refuse to work weekends. People want opportunity, but won't talk to strangers. People claim ambition, but sleep in every day. We are the result of our actions, not our aspirations.
We are the result of our actions, not our aspirations, right? See, when we talk about desire and ability drive our actions. That's what happens. We have to have a get out of bed in the morning, and we have to be able to get out of bed in the morning. And that's when we actually get to start work. That's when we get to actually start doing something. Action itself is so critical for leadership development because action itself, anything that's at rest, will decay. If we're not growing, we're dying. So we have to put ourselves into action to be able to continue to grow, because if we're not growing, we're dying. But this doesn't mean that we just have action for action's sake. We have to be very thoughtful about our action, right? It doesn't mean that we just leap right into action, but rather that we purposefully analyze, observe, and calculate through our actions. That's what it's all about, that we're taking the time to really think things through. This isn't just immediately jumping into action without thinking. It's that we purposefully analyze, observe, calculate, and then we respond. We don't just respond. That's not action. That's just action for action's sake. That's just response, really. That's not actually being thoughtful about what it is that we do. But in order to respond, we first have to be responsible. We have to be responsible. We have to have some level of responsibility in order to actually be able to respond effectively. It's not just jumping right in. It's how do we respond? What is it that we do? What is it that we can do that is going to drive an actual tangible result that we're looking for? Because that's the whole reason that we have actions in the first place, is to get a result. But to be responsible, we first have to be response-able. We have to be trained certified, validated. We have to know how to respond. What does that look like? How does it feel? What is it that we can do? How can we be able to insert ourselves to respond to a situation? The ability itself isn't enough. We have to be equipped to do it correctly. And so many times in leadership, like we've talked about all this week, yesterday, the day before, today, we've talked about this idea of we have to give accountability to our teams, accountability to our leaders, right? So before we give accountability, we have to be able to hold account with our teams. That's what it's all about. See, because through all of this, in order to be account-able, in order to provide accountability to somebody, and in order to give them a responsibility, it requires a mentality shift. So for us, as leaders that are taking this back, it requires us to do a little bit more. And that little bit more is a little bit harder. It's a little bit harder over and over and over again. Because desire and ability get us to the actions. But action itself is just another part of the recipe. We need more than just the action. It requires the courage to do the right thing, to do the right action, to have the right response. We have to have the courage. Courage isn't just firing somebody on the spot because they pissed you off in the moment. That's not courage. That's brashness. Courage is the hard conversation day after day after day after day after day until the point where you are fed up with it. Courage is actually writing the performance improvement plan. Courage is having the competency conversations. That's courage. Because it's so much easier to not do that. It's so much easier just to allow bad behavior to exist. And when we allow that behavior to exist and we don't attack it in the moment by having a challenging, professional, courteous conversation where we're clear and we're level setting and we're setting the tone and establishing exactly what it's supposed to be, when we don't do that, it's like Nick Saban said in the introduction video that we had yesterday. You lose the respect of the person that's doing it wrong because they know that they're doing it wrong. And you lose the respect of everybody else on the team that sees you doing it, not doing it, and knowing that that other person is doing it wrong. Because when it comes down to it, courage is the harder right over the easier wrong. An action itself is not enough. It requires us to be courageous, to dig deep and say, I know this is going to be challenging. I know it's going to be hard. Have you all ever had that conversation where you wake up in the morning, you're like, I got to go to work and have this conversation today? No one? Just me alone on an island? Great. Okay. Great. Oh, okay, cool. That's more like it. That sucks. That is not a fun place to be. And then you get there and you have that pit in your throat. Courage is fighting through it and getting to the other side. Courage is what gets us to the right actions to get the right results. But courage itself isn't enough. We're not done with our recipe yet. We have to have belief. We have to have belief because if we don't have the belief that what we are about to do is going to work, if we don't believe that it's going to be the right thing, if we don't believe that that could be a difference changer, well, then we won't do it. We have to have the belief that everything is going to work out when it's done. We will never choose the harder path if we don't actually believe that it's going to give us a better result at the end. We'll never do that. So there's a psychologist, author, James Clear, and he wrote in his book, Atomic Habits, this is a quote from him, that it doesn't make sense to continue wanting something if you're not willing to do what it takes to get it. If you don't want to live the lifestyle, then release yourself from the desire to crave the result, but not the process, is to guarantee disappointment. The pursuit of perfection is better than perfection. Becoming is better than being. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not willing to do what it takes to get to the result, if you're not determined enough to do what it takes to get to the result, then just free yourself of that burden right now. Because you'll never do it sustainably, effectively, and scalably. You see, belief itself is impossible without another ingredient. Belief itself is impossible without perseverance. Belief requires that we're sunk in. We're all the way in. We're ready to push those chips into the middle of the table because we are bought and sold. We're staking it all in on this belief. There's a quote by an incredible athlete. Maybe you've heard of him, Usain Bolt. And he said, "I trained 4 years to run 9 seconds. People don't see results in 2 months and give up." How many of you are 2 months into a 4-year training cycle and you're already out? Already done with it? How many of your people are 2 months in and we've already given up because we haven't seen the result yet? But I earned it. But I deserve it. But I'm better. I'm a 7.3. I rated myself a 10. I'm in that upper right quadrant, Corban. You know how I know? Because that's what I said. I deserve it now. I deserve it now. That's great. You're 2 months into a 4-year plan. Let's keep going. Show it. Have the perseverance of the belief. Sink your claws into it, right? Because when we talk about belief being impossible without perseverance, there's really only one person that can steal the opportunity away from us if we persevere. Who's the only person that can take that away from you? Ourselves. Why would you steal that away from yourself because you haven't gotten there in 2 months? It's about the perseverance. Because belief without perseverance is just an opinion. That's just something that you would slap out there. It's not even like a real opinion, right? It's kind of like a diet opinion. It's not even, there's no substance to it. It's basically just 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 substance. It's diet belief. It's great. Belief without perseverance is an opinion. That's simply what it comes down to. So when we talk about believe, it's the main theme of the show, Ted Lasso, right? And I know when we started the Lead Like Lasso podcast, it was because last year at Chef's Table, we used Ted Lasso as the theme. And we got the feedback, and I've gotten feedback from some of you, and it's always like, Corban, why is it always about sports? Was it always about sports with you? It's always about sports. Everything's a sport. It's all sports. Okay, I get it, sports. I did some reflecting, soul searching. You're right. Sports is a huge crutch to me. That's a huge crutch. I always go into sports because, I think it's because, not to get too vulnerable, but I was a really fat kid. I did not get to play sports. I did, I played goalie for my high school soccer team. Not good, very ungood. I developed exercise-induced asthma because I didn't want to run laps before. That somehow it just magically happened that way. I don't know. Ask my doctor. I'm not a doctor. But I've always wanted to play sports. I've wanted to be involved in sports. So that's always happened. But when I think about it, it is more than sports. It's more than sports. It's competition, really. And I think that when we break things down, sports is the easiest avenue for competition. It's the easiest way to be able to explain things through the analogy and the metaphor of competition, because I feel like everybody in this room is competitive. And the competition, really, when we think about competition, it is truly the key connector for all of us. Competition is the key connector. It's what brings us all together, because if you're in the restaurant industry, I'm going to be honest with you, you're competitive. You want to win. I've never known anybody in the restaurant industry that did not want to win before. It's easy for me to use sports as the analogy for that. But ultimately, though, I don't care if it's a coach, if it's a movie, if it's a TV show, if it's an athlete, a chef, a business leader, or maybe a former hostage negotiator, which we're going to hear from soon, which is really cool. I think that there's so much that we can learn from anybody when it comes to leadership. Which brings me to today's example. We're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite coaches, leaders. We're talking about Wilfried Nancy of the Columbus Crew, here local. And I am not BSing you when I say that he is absolutely one of my favorite coaches, favorite people. I listen to anytime he's on a podcast, an interview, anything. I soak up anything this man says, right? And a little history about him, and I'll read some stats, just so you have some understanding, because I understand that I'm talking about a soccer coach in Columbus, Ohio. And you're all like, never heard of him before. Great, so let me introduce you. This is Wilfried. He was born April of 1977 in France to a Guadeloupean father and a Senegal Cape Verdean mother. He played semi-professional soccer in lower-tier leagues overseas from 1995 to 2005. After that, he left and he went into coaching. He moved to Quebec, Canada, to coach amateur leagues. And when I say amateur leagues, I mean under 13 women's soccer leagues, age 7 to 13. Girls soccer, he was teaching and coaching. He works his way all the way up from there to what's now CF Montreal, a major league soccer team, where he was an assistant coach to Thierry Henry. And that name means nothing except to maybe like 4.5 of you. But that's one of the greatest soccer players of all time. And he was the head coach. And he really relied on Wilfried. And then one day, Thierry Henry was like, I'm out, I'm gone, I'm going back to France. And Wilfried was promoted. And in that year with CF Montreal, with the same players that they had had the previous year, they went on to destroy every club record that had existed, the most wins that they had ever had, the most goals that they had ever had. They went on to become exceptionally successful. And then he joined the Columbus Crew right here in Columbus, Ohio. So remember at the beginning when I said I was going to read everybody's mind? Well, I just did. And everybody right now is thinking, why are you talking about a mid-level soccer coach in Columbus, Ohio, Corban? We just told you we don't like soccer. And now you're going to talk about a soccer coach. And not just that, you're doubling down on Canadian soccer? I get it. But just stick with me, bear with me. Because Wilfried Nancy, in my opinion, is one of the greatest leaders of my lifetime. And here's why. Here's his recipe to success. We're going to start with his recipe to success. Number one is a clear vision. He has established a clear vision for his team. It's called Nancy Ball. It's known throughout soccer now. Over in European leagues, it's known as Nancy Ball. They play a different level of dedication, focus on the field. More discipline, more focus, more understanding of the game, more passes, more movement with the ball, more ball domination than anybody else. They also play a calculated gamble within that as well. But he requires one thing through his clear vision from his team, and that's unselfish behavior. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There is a little bit of a personal attachment here, if you couldn't tell. I'm a season ticket holder. I love going to the Columbus Crew matches. I love it so much that even when I go to the Columbus Crew matches, I might just be watching Wilfred coach on the sideline the entire time, filming it, watching him, studying him, learning from him, learning what he's doing. How is he rallying his players? What is he putting them into? What formation are they moving? How are they changing? How are they pivoting on the pitch? I just can't get enough of it. And in 2023, we had the Hell is Real match. For those of you that aren't familiar with Columbus, Cincinnati, 110 miles away, there's a really dirty city called Cincinnati. It's awful. It's terrible. It's awful. And down on the way from Columbus down to Cincinnati, there is a sign on the side of the road that says Hell is Real. It's become a staple. So this derby that happens between Cincinnati and Columbus every year is now known as the Hell is Real match. I'm sorry, my Cincinnati people. I love your city. It's just for effect. It's just for dramatic effect. But in 2023, the Columbus Crew had made the MLS playoffs, and they were in the conference finals in Cincinnati against Cincinnati. And it was such an awful game. In fact, I kind of want us all to experience the pain that I experienced that day together.
Do you believe in hell? Let's leave philosophy for another day. Meanwhile, in Major League Soccer, hell is indeed real. FC Cincinnati, Columbus Crew in the Eastern Conference Final for a place in MLS Cup. And not just that, hosting rights in the championship game.
In this Eastern Conference Final with a spot in MLS Cup on the line, a Hell is Real derby, 110 miles separating FC Cincinnati and the Columbus Crew against the two of Columbus and Darlington Nagbe and Aiden Morris. They can take advantage of a numbers advantage. That's what they want to do today. This is a bad giveaway by Farsi, who pens it quickly to Vasquez. Can he get the shot away? Vasquez! Marial for Cincinnati. Through to Vasquez. Schulte stays on his line. Vasquez was tripped up. Will Cincinnati take advantage? Acosta curling and in! Back heel to Marial. Now Acosta cuts inside and then around Gressel. Acosta into the middle. Kubo blocked by Matan, sacrificing his body. Schulte spilled and in! A third!
Player in Bupenza, watch the left arm. Deflects, left arm, absolutely.
And the rule is you cannot score a goal with your arm or your hand.
I mean, you can get.
Gressel drives it in. Ramirez was there, and it's in. Christian Ramirez off the bench.
To Wobodo, who's now going to sit in front of this back seven of FC Cincinnati.
Columbus throwing everything forward. Gressel, Ramirez. Oh, touching DeRozan. This is so good! What a goal! Costa trying the tricks into touch.
Yeah, but that's my frustration. If you're cramping, why are you flicking the ball up, trying to juggle out of it?
Gressel in, Amundsen flying in, didn't get there, but it makes its way to Molino. Molino, back post, Cucho, and then Ramirez has done it!
Yeah, but I want you to watch FC Cincinnati. Angulo here is caught flat-footed. Kevin Molino's on top of the ball, top of the 18, and there's a run from Cucho Hernandez, the most dangerous player on the field for Columbus, and you let him run in, but to have the composure in this moment, to not be selfish. Take a bow, Cucho Hernandez, and take a bow, Wilfred Nancy. Down 2-0, no problem. In Cincinnati.
A clear vision. We're going to play unselfish. We're going to be together on this. A clear vision. What does he also do? He empowers his team. Wilfried Nancy empowers his team as he goes through. Here's the next piece of the recipe.
That you have a tattoo that says, "Remember where you started." What does that phrase mean to you?
Everything. Because it's been my life. The way I grew and the people that I met and the struggle that I had and the success that I had. And for me, everything is linked.
It's over! The Columbus Crew, 2023 MLS Cup champions! The Leagues Cup 2024 champions are the Columbus Crew!
How much difference is there between Wilfried, the man, outside of the soccer facility in the stadium, and Wilfried, the manager?
To be honest, the same. What I've learned is I have to be authentic, I have to be genuine with the people that with who I am. This is who I am, you know, so I believe that the best way to become a good person is to be true to yourself.
Is coaching more art than science in your mind?
For me, yes. Because this is not only about tactic. For me, art is how you are able to achieve something with what you have. So the human being sometimes is gonna say, no, I cannot do that. Why not? Let's try it. And suddenly, boom, you started to get what you are looking for. And after that, you try to connect the dots, you know, with everything. And for me, this is what I call art. But again, don't get me wrong. I'm not Picasso. I'm just Wilfried, and I am only a coach. But I believe that, you know, sometimes people they put a lot of limit on themselves, and me, I don't like that. I try to convince them to try certain things, and when they have success, the fulfillment that they have is amazing.
You've said you want to live your passion. That's the quote. What does that mean to you right now in your life?
The tranquility that I'm looking for is to live my life under pressure, because it's a job with a lot of pressure. And the passion for me is the joy in my job. I have a tattoo saying that live the life you love the life you live. And for me, this is really, really important. This is exactly the meaning of my life.
So with Wilfried, he empowers his players by making sure that they understand that their role is everywhere on the pitch. It's everywhere on the field. In my world, we call that cross-training. We make sure that monotony is not the enemy, like he said. Monotony is the enemy. When somebody gets into a monotonous behavior, it's hard. But also, another key point of that is that he requires joy. His players, they grew up, they wanted to win. They already wanted to win. They had joy in playing. They had joy in what they got to do, in playing a game. Why is it so hard to love what we get to do, to love the life we live? Because sometimes it gets monotonous. Sometimes it gets stale. But if we're actively growing, if we're actively coaching and developing, we shed that monotony.
What you saw your team accomplish today, what are you most proud of?
We play our way. I'm so proud. Yes, we won. But as a coach, for me, the most important is not about winning. I told them. Today I told them. Because when they were kids, they wanted to win already. The idea is to have a clear vision and create connection with people, but also as a team. And listen, impossible is an opinion. Just enjoy it, and we're gonna grow. And this is what happened. This is unbelievable.
That was the speech he gave his team at halftime. Impossible is an opinion. So many times, we're the ones that limit our belief. So many times, we're the ones that haven't seen the progress in 2 months, and we start putting the limitations on it ourselves. But we have to have limitless belief. Impossible is an opinion, that's all. And now with Wilfried, it's great. They won 2 championships in the span of a year, back to back. And even today, they're still successful, even though their players were so good, they've sold the majority of them overseas to other great competitors. And they're still training actively, developing more. One of the crew, too, the youths, lives with Zach. He's the host family. It's incredible. Ask him about it sometime. It's wild. But the thing that I love most about Wilfried Nancy isn't just all of this. It's his humanity. Because recently, against the Seattle Sounders, an away game, and I'm not going to bore you to death with all of the statistics, but it was the end of the game. The other team was playing on a red card. They had a free kick, and it was in stoppage time. This is the best opportunity to win because the other team is down to 10 men. And this is what happened.
Diego Rossi in what might be the final moment of this match. Drives it into a dangerous spot.
Goodness, great defending.
It's over. It's off a Seattle player. It's a corner. Stephen Fry is down, and immediately the athletic training staff compelled to come on the field. This is not a good-looking sight for Seattle's veteran goalkeeper.
It's knee to the side of the head from Sejdic to Stephen Fry. Oh boy.
Very worrying.
Just stop the game.
And Wilfried Nancy, I think you can see, is agreeing.
Well, look at what the fourth official, Brian Schmetzer, as well. Yeah, this is the right decision.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so with 1 minute to go, with them having the corner kick, the opportunity to go win the game, now the goalkeeper's out. They got to bring in somebody that's cold. Let me be crystal clear. The rules specify that you do not stop the game. The rules say you keep playing. You sub somebody in and you finish the game, 1 minute left or not. But Wilfried Nancy was the one that stopped the game. And after the game, he said this. He said, when we see that, football is not important. Because yes, the score matters. Absolutely, the score matters. The score matters to us every day inside of our restaurants. The score matters, but not at the cost of who we are. Not at the cost of our integrity. Not at the cost of our ethics. Not at the cost of who we want to be. The score doesn't matter that much. And after the match, the opposing coach had this to say in his post-game presser.
I'm very happy to our medical staff because they did a good job to be careful. We can't underestimate that type of stuff. And certainly Wilfried, I appreciate what he did because the ref wasn't going to stop the game. And everybody knew that the game should have been stopped. So good on him. So thank you, Wilfried. Okay.
All right, with that, we'll start with questions.
Not at the cost of who we are, not at the cost of our humanity. We lead by example. Because belief needs one more ingredient to make this dish the recipe for success. Belief needs trust. Trust in who the message is coming from. Trust that the message is real. There has to be a layer of trust connected to this. And when you have all of those things, that's how you can lead like Nancy.